I never thought I'd find satisfaction in watching a grown man cry over a plate of pasta, but here I was, smiling as my brother-in-law Marcus sobbed into his fettuccine. The restaurant he'd tried to steal from me was now owned by his arch-rival, and the sauce he was crying into? That was my grandmother's secret recipe, the one he'd never get his hands on. My name is Sophia Romano, and until 6 months ago, I owned Bella Luna, the most successful Italian restaurant in our city, the place my grandmother built from nothing, the place I'd inherited and transformed into a modern success while keeping its heart intact. Well, Marcus thought he could take it all away. Instead, I served him the coldest dish of revenge, garnished with his own bitter tears. Let me take you back to where it all began. I met my husband Anthony at culinary school. We were both passionate about food, but while I dreamed of running my own restaurant, he preferred the freedom of catering. When we got married, his family welcomed me warmly, or so I thought. My grandmother's restaurant, Bella Luna, had been a city landmark for 40 years. She'd started it as a tiny cafe and built it into a celebrated establishment. When she passed away 5 years ago, she left it to me, her only grandchild who shared her passion for cooking. Take care of my legacy, Sophia, she'd said, pressing the keys into my hand, but don't be afraid to make it your own. I honored both requests. I modernized the menu while keeping the classics, renovated the space while preserving its charm, and expanded the business while maintaining its soul. Under my management, Bella Luna's revenue tripled. We even got featured in several national magazines. That's when Marcus, my husband's older brother, started showing up more often. At first, his visits seemed innocent enough. He'd drop by during lunch, sample new dishes, ask questions about the business, but there was always something calculating in his eyes. You know, Sophia, he said one day, swirling his wine, it's impressive how you've handled the restaurant, but don't you think it's a lot for you to manage alone? I raised an eyebrow. I'm not alone. I have an excellent team. Of course, but now that you're part of our family, you should consider making this a true family business. I have extensive experience in restaurant management. What he didn't mention was that his extensive experience consisted of running 3 restaurants into the ground. His latest venture, a pretentious fusion place called Catalyst, was hemorrhaging money across town. Thank you, Marcus, but I'm happy with how things are running. His visits became more frequent, his suggestions more insistent. He started dropping by the kitchen, questioning my staff, reviewing our books as if he had any right to do so. Then came the family dinner where everything changed. I'd been thinking, Marcus announced at his parents' house, Bella Luna should be restructured as a family corporation. We could all contribute and share the profits. I nearly choked on my wine. Excuse me? It makes perfect sense, he continued. You're part of our family now, Sophia. We should all benefit from the restaurant's success. The restaurant isn't family property, I said firmly. It was my grandmother's, and now it's mine. Marcus's wife Victoria chimed in. Don't be selfish, Sophia. Marcus has such great ideas for the place. Don't you want Bella Luna to reach its full potential? I looked to my husband for support, but Anthony just stared at his plate. His silence spoke volumes. The next day, Marcus showed up at Bella Luna with a lawyer. We need to discuss the future of this establishment, he declared, dropping a stack of papers on my desk. As the eldest son of the family, I should have controlling interest. I picked up the documents, a proposal to transfer 60% ownership to him in exchange for his expertise and capital investment. Are you insane? I asked. This is my restaurant, my grandmother's legacy. You married into our family, he sneered. Everything you have becomes family property. Sign the papers, or things will get very unpleasant. I threw the papers in the trash. Get out of my restaurant. That's when he showed his true colors. You'll regret this, he hissed. I've already spoken to your suppliers. Good luck running this place when your deliveries start having problems. And wait until the health department starts receiving anonymous complaints. He stormed out, leaving me shaking with rage. But I wasn't afraid, I was plotting. What Marcus didn't know was that I'd seen this coming months ago. When he first started sniffing around my business, I'd already documented every threat, every attempt to interfere, and I'd been in secret negotiations with someone who would love nothing more than to see Marcus fail, again. Diana Chen, owner of the acclaimed Golden Palace restaurant chain, had been trying to expand into Italian cuisine. She'd also been Marcus's main competition for years, watching him copy her ideas and fail miserably at executing them. The next morning, I made a call. Diana, it's Sophia Romano. Remember that offer you made for Bella Luna? I'm ready to discuss terms, but I have a few conditions. The next 2 weeks were a masterclass in deception. While Marcus was busy threatening suppliers and spreading rumors about health code violations, I was quietly finalizing the sale of Bella Luna to Diana Chen, with some very specific conditions. First, I would stay on as executive chef and creative director, with full control over the menu and kitchen operations. Second, my entire staff would keep their jobs and get better benefits. And third, this was the sweetest part, the sale would remain secret until the perfect moment. Diana didn't just agree to my terms, she loved them. Nothing would make me happier than watching Marcus realize he's lost to me again, she said, signing the contracts. But this time, he'll lose to a woman he underestimated, twice. True to his word, Marcus began his campaign of harassment. Deliveries started arriving late or not at all. Health inspectors showed up 3 times in 1 week, responding to anonymous complaints that mysteriously found nothing wrong. He even tried to poach my head bartender, offering him double his salary. Through it all, I kept smiling, which seemed to infuriate Marcus even more. One evening, he stormed into the restaurant during dinner service, clearly drunk and angry that his tactics weren't working. "This restaurant belongs to the family," he shouted, causing diners to stop mid-bite. "You're just an in-law. You have no right to keep this from us." I calmly approached him. "Marcus, you're disrupting my customers. Please leave." "Your customers?" He laughed bitterly. "Not for long. I've made sure every supplier in the city knows not to work with you. Let's see how you run a restaurant without ingredients." "Is that a threat?" I asked loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Are you actually threatening to sabotage my business because I won't give it to you?" "It's not your business," he roared. "Everything in this family belongs to me. I'm the eldest son." Phones were out now, recording his meltdown. Perfect. "Security," I called to our newly hired guards. Diana's suggestion, "Please escort Mr. Romano out, and make sure to give copies of the security footage to his lawyer. I'm sure they'll find it interesting." As he was led out, still shouting about family rights, I noticed Victoria filming from the doorway. She quickly lowered her phone when she saw me looking. "Getting evidence for your husband's legal case?" I asked sweetly. "He's right. You know," she sniffed. "You're nothing but an outsider trying to steal family wealth." I leaned close and whispered, "Keep that phone handy. You'll want to record what happens next." The following day, Marcus arrived with both a lawyer and his parents in tow. Anthony trailed behind them, looking uncomfortable. "This ends today," Marcus declared, slapping a court order on my desk. "We're seeking an emergency injunction to prevent you from making any changes to the restaurant's ownership or operations." I picked up the document, pretending to read it carefully. "Interesting timing. What's that supposed to mean?" his lawyer asked. "Oh, nothing. Please, continue explaining how you plan to prevent changes to something that already changed hands 2 weeks ago." The silence was deafening. "What are you talking about?" Marcus demanded. I pressed my office intercom. "Send her in, please." Diana Chen walked into my office, elegant and poised as ever. Marcus's face went from red to white in record time. "No," he whispered, "you didn't." "Hello, Marcus." Diana smiled. "Surprised to see me? You shouldn't be, after all. You're standing in my restaurant." Victoria, who had been filming again, dropped her phone. "This is a trick," Marcus sputtered. "She's lying." "Actually," Diana's lawyer said, entering behind her with a folder, "here are the filed and finalized sale documents from 2 weeks ago. Bella Luna is now part of the Golden Palace Restaurant Group." Marcus grabbed the papers, his hands shaking. "This isn't possible. You can't sell family property without consulting the family." "It wasn't family property," I said calmly. "It was my property, inherited from my grandmother, and now it's Diana's property, except for my retained position as executive chef and creative director." "Of course, you're firing me?" Marcus asked stupidly. "Firing you?" Diana laughed. "You never worked here, Marcus, though I did enjoy watching you try to sabotage your own family's business." Very classy. His parents, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. "Sophia," my mother-in-law pleaded, "surely we can discuss this. We're family." "Family?" I stood up. "Family doesn't threaten and harass each other. Family doesn't try to steal what doesn't belong to them. And family certainly doesn't stand by silently while it happens." I looked pointedly at Anthony, who couldn't meet my eyes. "Now," I continued, "I believe you all have a copy of that court order. I suggest you show it to your lawyer and let them explain exactly how many laws Marcus broke in his campaign against me. The footage of his drunk tirade last night should help illustrate the pattern of harassment." Marcus lunged forward, but Diana's security team was faster. They stepped between us as Marcus's lawyer grabbed his arm. "Don't," the lawyer warned. "You've done enough damage already." As they were escorted out, I called after them. Oh, and Marcus? Those supplier contracts you interfered with? Diana's lawyers will be in touch about that too. It turns out intentionally sabotaging business relationships is legally actionable. Who knew? The door closed behind them, leaving me alone with Diana, who was grinning like a cat who got the cream. That, she said, was even better than I imagined. Ready for phase 2? I smiled back. Absolutely. Phase 2 was deliciously simple. We announced the acquisition publicly, with a special focus on how Diana Chen's resources would allow us to preserve and expand my grandmother's legacy. The press ate it up. The story of two successful businesswomen collaborating to save a historic restaurant from hostile takeover attempts was irresistible. The leaked footage of Marcus's drunken tirade went viral in local business circles. His reputation, already shaky from his previous failures, completely imploded. Suppliers who he'd pressured to cut ties with Bella Luna now refused to work with him at Catalyst. But the real masterstroke came 3 days later, when we unveiled our new menu. A fusion of traditional Italian cuisine and modern Asian influences, Diana announced at the press event, bringing together the best of both our culinary heritages. Marcus's face, when he read the news, was priceless. For years, he'd tried to create successful fusion restaurants, copying Diana's concepts poorly. Now, the restaurant he'd tried to steal was doing it right, under her ownership and my direction. The new menu was an instant hit. Lines formed around the block. Critics raved about our innovative takes on classic dishes. Marcus's Catalyst, meanwhile, sat empty across town. One evening, Anthony finally showed up alone. "Can we talk?" he asked quietly. I led him to my office, the same one where I'd signed the sale papers, where I'd watched his brother's world crumble. "I should have stood up for you," he began. "Yes, you should have. I was caught between my family and my wife." "No," I cut him off. "You were caught between right and wrong. And you chose wrong." He slumped in his chair. "What happens now?" I pulled out another set of papers. "That depends on you. These are divorce papers. You can fight me, side with your brother again, and watch as the evidence of his harassment campaign becomes public record in court. Or you can sign, walk away cleanly, and I'll keep the ugliest details private. You've thought of everything, haven't you? I learned from watching your brother. He taught me exactly how not to handle business and family." Anthony signed the papers without reading them. As he stood to leave, he paused. "The new menu, that wasn't just business, was it? You knew fusion was Marcus's dream." I smiled. "The best revenge isn't just about winning. It's about winning better than your enemy ever could." The next month brought more changes. Catalyst finally closed its doors. Another Marcus Romano failure. Victoria filed for divorce, apparently deciding a failed restaurateur wasn't worth her time. Marcus's parents, facing social embarrassment from their son's public meltdown, retired to Florida. Diana and I continued to expand Bella Luna's success. We opened 2 new locations, each maintaining the high standards my grandmother had established. Her portrait still hangs in the original location, and sometimes I swear she's smiling wider than before. 1 year after the sale, Marcus came in as a customer. He'd lost weight, and his designer clothes had been replaced by off-the-rack basics. He sat alone at the bar, ordered a plate of our award-winning fusion pasta, and cried. I approached him after his second glass of wine. "How did you do it?" he asked, not looking up. "How did you beat me so completely?" "I didn't beat you, Marcus. You beat yourself. I just refused to be your victim. The restaurant, it's better than I could have made it." "I know." He pulled out his wallet. "Can I at least get the family discount?" "Sorry," I smiled. "We don't offer one. We treat all our customers like family, which means everyone pays full price." As he left, I thought about family, the one you're born into, the one you marry into, and the one you build yourself. My staff had stood by me. Diana had proven to be more of an ally than my in-laws ever were, and my grandmother's legacy was thriving. The next morning, a familiar face appeared in my office. "Victoria, Marcus's ex-wife. I hear you're hiring managers for the new location," she said. I raised an eyebrow. "Are you serious?" I learned a lot watching Marcus fail, mostly what not to do, and, she hesitated, "I learned something from you too, about standing up for yourself." I studied her for a moment. "We start training at 7 a.m. Don't be late." Sometimes revenge isn't just about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about building something so successful that they're forced to acknowledge their own failures. And sometimes, if you're really lucky, it's about teaching them to be better. Today, Bella Luna is more successful than ever. The fusion menu Marcus mocked is now being copied by restaurants across the country. Diana and I have opened 5 more locations, each one profitable, each one maintaining the perfect balance of tradition and innovation. As for Marcus, last I heard, he was working as a line cook in one of those copycat restaurants. Sometimes he comes in to eat alone, staring at my grandmother's portrait, perhaps wondering where he went wrong. But I know where he went wrong. He thought success was about taking what others had built. He never understood that true success comes from building something of your own, and knowing how to protect it. My grandmother taught me to cook with love, but life taught me to fight with skill. In the end, I honored both lessons. The restaurant she built is still here, stronger than ever, serving happiness one plate at a time. And every time I see Marcus's face in the dining room, every time I watch him taste the food he'll never know how to make, I remember his words, "This restaurant belongs to the family." He was right about one thing, it does belong to a family, just not his.